My name's Chris Abel. I'm an attorney down in Flower Mound. A little bit about me, I was born in Grapevine. I live in Flower Mound. I haven't made it far in life. I've got a beautiful wife who's here tonight, Heather. I've got two wonderful girls, Maddie and Lizzie. And again, if you go outside and grab one of my push cards, you can see pictures of them too. The reason I'm running for this, let's see, I'm a board certified trial attorney. I graduated with honors from Austin College and from Baylor University School of Law. Both candidates were recruited as an excellent law school.
Sickle bears.
That's right. Okay. I've traveled with grand jury trials in Denton County alone. I've been in front of a jury more than most people do in their entire career. I've been practicing for 20 years now. When my father passed away in June, I decided it was time for me to go back to a life of service. He was an evangelical minister for 42 years, an unequivocal calling that he had. And every time he went to bed at night, he knew he had done the Lord's work that day. The proudest moments of my career have been serving as an assistant district attorney for you in Denton County as a prosecutor. And I wanted to go back to that. When my dad died, I decided I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to shut down my practice. I don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to pay the bills, but we're going to figure it out. And God instantly opened some doors to me. I was hired to be your assistant municipal court judge for the city of Denton. Been hired for the city of Corinth. The city of Godly hired me to come in there and kind of create a court anew for them to make sure that they could administer justice and the police had a judge there to sign warrants. I've also been deputized to be a deputy district court judge for Dallas County. And at 3 a.m. on a Saturday, I'm sitting down there at the jail working with law enforcement hand in hand to sign their arrest warrants, sign their search warrants. I'm a pro law enforcement candidate. That's why I have the backing of our sheriff, Tracy Murphy. I anticipate being endorsed by a lot of prosecutors and other police officers throughout the county. I'm here today asking for your vote to be your servant on the bench of the 393rd. Thank you.
My name is Karen Alexander, and I think it's important to understand what type of court this is, because you hear lots of times the word judge, but what does that really mean? So there are municipal court judges that hear traffic tickets and traffic laws. There are criminal judges that hear misdemeanors and felonies. This is a preferential family law court, so it hears family law cases such as divorce, child modification, child support, and child welfare like CPS cases. Based upon my qualifications, judges in this room appoint me every day to represent children in Denton County. Children that were born addicted to methamphetamines, children who have been trafficked by their parents, children who they want to maintain that do not get trafficked by the government and foster care systems, children who are so emaciated laying in a bed that they have a feeding tube because their parents don't feed them. And it has been my job for more than 20 years to protect those children and to report back to the judge that they are in a safe place, that they are being well maintained and taken care of, and that they are not being neglected while in the care of the government. I've also represented parents, and I've gotten them their children back because we've been able to fix whatever problem they had that brought them into the system to begin with. I was one of the originating attorneys in Denton County Family Drug Court, a specialty court, and I've worked with children and with parents to get them sober, to keep them sober, and I even hired one of those people to work in my law firm because I put my money where my mouth is. And now God's opened a door for me to be able to not represent these children as an attorney, but to watch over them as a guardian angel judge. And to make sure that that continues to happen and that Denton County kids don't get neglected and that they are continued to be taken care of. I take that job very seriously. I've been doing it for more than 20 years. I'm the only candidate in the race with family law experience, and I promise you I will keep our children safe. Thank you.
You go first. So this is the first question. In your professional opinion, please tell us who you most admire on the United States Supreme Court, past or present, and why.
I most admire Chief Justice Rehnquist. He was a veteran, and he used his GI Bill to get through school. He wasn't handed anything, he earned it on his own. He was able to work bipartisan and had the support of both Democrats and Republicans on the Supreme Court. When I was I guess it was after my junior year at Baylor. I went Baylor undergrad, Baylor Law School. I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., and I interned for a Republican congressman there. And while I was there, I went to the Supreme Court and I actually listened to a decision be handed down, and I got to see Justice Rehnquist on the bench. It is one of the highlights of my judicial career, and I most admire him as a justice for his work and being admired by both sides and his work as his opinions. Thank you.
As far as current justices go, I'm gonna go with ACB, Amy Coney Barrett. And the reason why is because I really have a lot of respect for her, both on the bench, as someone who strictly interprets the Constitution and does not try to create narratives or create an outcome that she wants to see, but actually calls balls and strikes the way a judge is supposed to do, and literally interpret the Constitution. But I also like her because she walks the walk in her personal life. She adopts kids. She's pro-life. She has stood by her faith, even when it was hard for her to do, and she took heat for it. She stood up and said, I'm a proud Catholic, this is what I do, and this is who I am, and this is my foundation. So I like that. As far as from a historical standpoint, so I graduated from Austin College with a degree in history. I wrote my honors thesis, particularly on the Civil War. Oliver Wendell Holmes served until on the court till he was about 90. But I really admired him because, again, his personal life. He walked the walk. He was a colonel to fight in the Union Army. If you haven't read his Civil War papers, they're amazing. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, for the 393rd District Court, describe specifically what types of cases you would hear and your experience in handling those types of cases.
Sure. The 393 is designated what is called preferentially family law. It has general jurisdiction. It can handle death penalty cases. It can handle multi-million-dollar personal injury cases or contract cases. It's preferred family law cases. So my first year out of law school, I moved to East Texas. I hung out of shingle. I lived in our family farm. It's been in our family for 150 some odd years. We own it today. I lived there with my aunt and uncle. I hung out of shingle in East Texas, and I did whatever walked in the door. The primary thing was divorces and child custody. So I represented family CPS cases. I did dozens of divorces, child custody cases. It got me in the courtroom. It got me the experience I needed. Then I came working for you as an assistant district attorney for Dayton County. I prosecuted juveniles under the family code, and I'm also the judge that's sitting there at night doing what's best for family judges to do. When we talk about abusers and neglectors and protecting the kids, I'm the judge at 3 a.m. who's sitting there reading that report, realizing that this guy can't be around her again. And I'm the one that's drafted the emergency protective order as a judge to keep him away from the kid and keep him away from his wife. That's my experience.
So I do agree that this is a preferential family law court and it hears family law matters. I was a prosecutor in the Dayton County District Attorney's Office, and in fact, Leanne did indeed hire me. I believe she hired Chris as well. And I left the DA's office after about 2 years with a private law firm in town. I was stolen away, is what they say. And I learned family law at the law firm. I don't know anyone who goes to law school saying I want to be a family lawyer. It's just not one of those things. In fact, I struggled with it along my 20-year line as to whether I'm sponsoring sin, if this is something that as a Christian I'm called to do, but God has opened every door. For 20 years, I represented people in divorce every day. Child support, child custody matters, CPS matters, everything that was before this court. In fact, in this very court, I've made thousands of appearances. I've known this judge before I started to run for office. He's heard me hundreds of times argue in his courtroom. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do.
Question number 3, the first part of it is pretty much what was just asked, so I'm going to ask the second part of it. So simply put, what makes you the best candidate for the job of the judge of the 393?
I just want to make sure, am I supposed to go first?
You.
Okay.
You're correct.
I want to make sure I'm not out of order.
No, you're doing it
And
right.
the question was, what makes you most qualified? Is that right?
Oh, wait a minute. No, she was.
Okay, all right, I wasn't sure.
Overruled.
It'll be the same. Overruled. Sorry. I have a chart.
Chris and I have been friends for a long time, and I think he's a fantastic person. And if this was a bench that heard criminal law, I would be supporting Chris. But in fact, it's a family law bench, and that's why I believe that I'm the most qualified candidate. It doesn't take away from what a great person he is. I believe that he's a Christian man, and I believe he's a good man and a good father and probably a good husband as well. I can't imagine that he's not. This just isn't the type of law that he's practiced for his career. His family law experience, by his own admission, was 20 years ago. I've had 20 years of practicing family law. My heart is for these children. I so strongly believe in what it is that the courts are doing, what these judges over here do every day to protect us. And I want the opportunity to be able to do that in a bigger way, right? Right now I represent individual families, but as a judge, you can touch so many lives. I'm a Christian, and I want to be able to use my Christian values to protect our citizens.
I want to bring a unique and fresh perspective to this court. If you're like me, you've seen the degradation of society over the last several decades because we don't sanctify the family, we don't sanctify the marriage. Marriage is not a contract. It is a holy union between a man and a woman. And if we treat marriage the way we're treating our society and just do a cookie cutter approach to it, the way we've always been doing it for the last 20 or 30 years, we're damned. That's just how that is. Our kids will not grow up in the same society that we grew up in. I want to do things different. I want to do what my dad did. I remember him getting phone calls at 3 in the morning. My wife is leaving me. What do I do? How do I get my kids back? We need to put more focus on reunifying families and not just doing a cookie cutter divorce approach and saying, oh, you have a contract dispute, you're the plaintiff, you're the respondent, let's figure out who gets the money. That is not how to run a marriage. That's not what a marriage is in cheapens it. And I want to bring a unique perspective to do that. My name is Chris Abel, A-B-E-L, like Cain and Abel, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, I have first?
Yes,
Okay.
believe it or not.
All right.
We'll
Well,
look at chart.
all right. Well, I gave him the last tagline. Chris Abel, like Cain and Abel. Look, I've been a trial lawyer for a long time. 20 years, 300 jury trials. A trial is a trial is a trial. The rules of evidence are the rules of evidence. And calling balls and strikes are calling balls and strikes. Look, my opponent, Karen, I have a lot of, respect for her. We have a history there. We've worked against each other in the courtroom. We've worked with each other in the courtroom on various cases. But I do think I provide that unique perspective, and I'm the only candidate with judicial experience. I'll never be the man my father was, but I want to lead a life of service. I want to do that. I feel that calling immensely, and I'm very passionate about that. And I want to get in there and do right by you. And I want to do right by these kids. I've loved one woman my whole life. I have 2 beautiful angels at home. And I want to help other people have that same family dynamic. And that's why I'm asking for your vote. Chris Abel, running for judge. Thanks.
So Chris and I do have a fundamental difference. I don't want to do things differently in a court. I want to follow the law. So the legislature tells us what we have to do in circumstances, and my job is to follow the strict compliance of the law. I'm a strict constructionist, and I will follow the law in a strict way. I will use the 4 corners of our Constitution and our laws, and I will apply that to the facts of the case. I want to tell you a little bit about a case that I have had that would be before this court. And it's about a little girl who came into care. I was appointed to represent her as her attorney. I went to visit her at Cook's Children's. She was so emaciated that she had a feeding tube. She couldn't talk. I sat beside her until she fell asleep, rubbing her hand, and then I cried and prayed over her. She has approximately 2 years to live now because her parents neglected her. I don't want to do things different. I want to follow the law. I want to terminate those parents. I want to find a good home for this little girl, and I want to give her the best 2 years that she can get. And I have that vision because I am a family lawyer. I have done this for 20 years and I want to continue to do it for you. Thank you for the opportunity.